picture puzzle piece lying on the sidewalk. One picture puzzle piece soaking in the rain. It might be a button of blue on the coat of a woman who lived in a shoe. It might be a magical bean, or the fold in a red velvet robe of the queen. It might be the one little bite of an apple her grandmother gave to Snow White.
Oppression is both a state and a process.
The state being unequal access to power and privilege,
and the process being the ways in which that inequality is maintained.
Internalized oppression can become an unconscious response in which oppressed groups internalize stereotypes and expectations. Using Lipsky's definition, internalized oppression is the turning upon ourselves, upon our families, upon our own people, the distress patterns that result from the oppression of the dominant. When I was 2, I was diagnosed with SEDC, which stands for spondyloepiphyseal dysplasia congenita. It's a physical disability that makes my torso shorter and limits my body's ability to produce collagen. In some cases, it can result in deafness, blindness, the need to be trached, as well as other severe effects. Shortly after I was diagnosed, my mom joined an SEDC Facebook group, and it served as a great place to get information on surgery, or resources, or any other info one might need. And my mother, she left that group just shortly after she joined it. You see, after a while, the response towards my condition became more passive than accepting. Oh, she's not really in the same boat that our sons are in. Your daughter isn't really disabled. What was astonishing were the direct attacks made against my mother just because I didn't fit into their box of what disability was supposed to look like. We don't just see this in the disabled community, we can see it everywhere. We see the shaming of feminine things from within the feminist movement, or gatekeeping of LGBTQ+ individuals. And this sort of exclusion is a manifestation of individual insecurities and hardships that people face. If I'm not good enough for the rest of the world, at least I know I can be better than the people directly around me. But this sort of mindset shines a spotlight on the idea that if you don't fit in enough, you don't fit in at all. And so, through the poem Picture Puzzle Piece by Shel Silverstein, articles by Zach Rowling, Rachel Carrington, and Stephanie Newman, and the prose, Internalized Oppression, I bring to you Jigsawed, a program, like individual puzzle pieces, each unique in our own way. Because as easy as it may feel to put other people in boxes, I find it feels much worse once you're placed inside of one yourself. It might be the veil of a bride, or a bottle with some evil genie inside. It might be a small tuft of hair on the big bouncy belly of the Bobo Bear. It might be a bit of cloak of the Witch of the West as she melted to smoke. Oh, you're eating pizza. You can't eat pizza. It's pride. You have to be on the pride diet. Water and salad. Listen, when I came out, I knew there would be stressors. I guess I just didn't expect for half of those stressors to come from within the community. Intra-minority stress. It was a theory that was introduced to me. And this type of stress can manifest itself in a variety of ways. Socioeconomic pressures, pop culture, body image. But when rejected by members of the gay community, it feels like a simultaneous rejection of me as not gay enough, or not queer enough, not rich enough, not cool enough. Eating pizza on pride, that's okay too.
Internalized oppression leads to intragroup fragmentation.
Oppressed members may begin to discriminate against one another. Systems in which the oppressed is consistently, aggressively, and systematically dehumanized, the oppressor becomes the model of acceptable humanity. I grew up loving girly things. And as time went on, my genuine excitement for girl activities never changed, even as the activities themselves evolved. However, in college, I began to downplay some of my interests. Joined a fashion magazine, then quit, because I was embarrassed. I rushed to sorority, became less and less involved with every passing semester. I tried to erase my femininity in order to be deemed as a more intellectual adult. This was internalized sexism. I didn't recognize it as such until I started reflecting on why I developed a repulsion for the things that I used to like. Why did I disavow shopping? Why did I think I couldn't have any pink on my professional website? I still liked these things. I remember once I was watching this TV show with my grandmother. And there's this one character, and she was no nonsense and strong, and she didn't let anyone push her around. And at one point, my grandmother, she turned to me and she said, "I don't like it when women act like that, like men." And I remember I realized in that moment there was this invisible barrier between us, placed there by society that only valued passivity and submissiveness in women. And my grandmother had learned to accept this image and to devalue her own. There are moments when I still hear my grandmother's voice in the back of my head. And I have this moment of insecurity about my own femininity, and sometimes I wonder if she were still alive, she would understand and appreciate the woman that I've become. Sometimes I wonder if I understand and appreciate the woman that I have become. To effectively emulate the oppressor, the oppressed must devalue his or her own group membership. Internalized oppression reinforces and generates mistrust, criticism, creates unrealistic expectations. Our society is so focused on appearance. You have to act the part. You have to look the part. If you have tattoos, you can't be a lawyer. Or if you're overweight, you can't be a dancer. And while most of these have been debunked, there's one that still stands. If you don't look disabled, you're not disabled. I didn't go to my doctor and beg for my disability status. Life or fate, whatever you want to call it, made that decision, and for the most part, we've accepted our challenges, but so much of the world hasn't. I can't walk long distances. I can't walk with my friends. I can't pick up heavy things. I can't go upstairs. But you can't see my injury. You can't see the pain that accompanies me every day, everywhere I go. And because of that, I'm not disabled. Even more insidious, however, is the internalized oppression results in the incorporation of stereotypes into cultural values. That's just the way you are. So that oppression becomes a cultural norm that is transmitted across generations. Sometimes I still hear my grandmother's voice in the back of my head, and I have this moment of insecurity about my own femininity, and sometimes I wonder if she were still alive, if she would understand and appreciate the woman that I've become. Sometimes I wonder if I understand and appreciate the woman that I've become. This was internalized sexism, and I didn't recognize it. I didn't recognize it until I started reflecting why I had developed a repulsion for the things that I used to like, the things that I used to like. Sometimes I'm rejected by members of the gay community. It feels like a simultaneous rejection of me as not gay enough, or not queer enough, not rich enough, not cool enough, not gay enough, not queer enough, not rich enough, not cool enough. Disabilities aren't prizes that we've earned. They give us the right to better parking or more attention. I didn't go to my doctor and beg for my disability status. Life, or fate, or whatever you want to call it, made that decision. For the most part, we've accepted our challenges, but so much of the world hasn't. It might be a shadowy trace of a tear that runs down an angel's face, but nothing has more possibilities than one picture puzzle.